Welcome guys to another episode of Tutorial for Fitness. Today we give you top 5 tips on how to become a better CrossFit athlete. Tip number 5. Well, tip number 5 is consistency. None of the 4 following points really works if they are not pursued with consistency. Your recovery will never be good with 4 days of 8 hours of sleep, but 3 days with 5, because you're out in the weekend getting drunk. Your weight loss and your weight gain diet will never work if you only follow it 50% of the time. Everyone can follow a diet when it's easy. The winners never won by taking the easiest route. Tip number 4. Follow a program. If you don't have a plan and you just bias your training every time you hit the gym, your results and your overall fitness as we know it will be very limited. It's so important to track your training and have a clear plan when entering the gym. Sharing a general training plan with other people is very motivating, and it creates accountability towards other people that can help you get into the gym and get stuff done. Both life and training should be shared with other people. Tip number 3. Target your weaknesses. Following a general training program is not enough to unlock your true athletic potential. It's always easier training all the stuff that you're already good at, and it sucks to train the stuff that you're bad at. But in reality, your weakest points are the ones that define your overall fitness. If you suck at pistols and running and you don't target it in your training, you will never be the Rich Froning or the Catherine Davis here that you dream of being. Now, we are all guilty of this one, but some more than other. Tip number 2. Recovery. Working out is the fun and the easy part when trying to achieve our goals. But something that's equally or maybe even more important than training is the recovery. The body repairs itself when it's resting. So if you keep hammering down your body workout after workout without giving it the proper rest it needs, you're gonna dig a hole much deeper than you can recover from. The word overtraining really means under-recovering. Here's what to do. You're gonna sleep 8 hours every night. You're gonna sleep 8 hours every night. If you're doing double session, especially with weightlifting, you can bump that up to 10 hours every day. You need to rest and refuel right after each training session to optimize recovery for your next session. Implement 2 rest days per week. Just make that rule, 2 rest days per week. The most popular schedule is Thursdays and Sundays off. Those 2 days are great to get out of the gym, spend time with family, use your fitness in real life. You gotta remember, there's a real life outside the gym, and you should take full potential of your rest days to go spend it with friends and family. And tip number 1, this is the blockbuster, the biggest one of them all, nutrition. No great athlete has ever gotten to number 1 in the sport without having proper nutrition behind them. We're gonna break down the basics really quickly for you guys and then give you a 1, 2, 3 or a stepping stone onto how you can figure out how much food you should be eating according to your plans. Proteins is your building blocks in your muscles, carbohydrates is your fuel, and fats are for your organs and brain.
The most popular ratio of macronutrients is 30 grams of protein, 40 grams of carbs, and 30 grams of fat. But this is something that you can experiment with on your weight loss or your weight gain journey.
Your total calories for the day is the total amount of the 3 macronutrients I just mentioned in the end of the day, eaten in total. Eaten in total. Carbohydrates and proteins contains 4 calories where fat contains 9. So how much food should you really be eating? Well, it all comes down to your goals. If you're a person like me or any other guy out there that wants to put on muscle, then you need to make sure that you're eating more food than you are burning every single day, so we have a caloric surplus to support that muscle growth. If you, on the other hand, want to lose weight, then you gotta make sure that you're eating less food than your body needs, and by creating a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. If you eat 500 calories extra every single day than your BMI states, then on a weekly scale, you will gain half a kilo. On the other hand, if you eat 500 calories less every day, in the end of the week, you will have lost hopefully half a kilo of fat and not muscle. So how do you calculate your BMI? And what is a BMI really? A BMI is your basal metabolic rate. It's basically what your body needs just to exist if you're sitting in a chair the entire day. How do you calculate it? It's very easy. You go to bodybuilding.com, type in your height, your gender, your weight, your age, and it will come up with a basic BMI for you. Is it precise? Maybe not 100%, but nothing that we can do here is really 100%. Everything is test and try. Let's say you are a girl, your BMI is 1,400 calories, and you add another 300 calories on top of that for just walking around and living your life. That's gonna put you at 1,700. It's still gonna be a caloric deficit, and you will be losing weight. You will not be losing a lot of weight because you're not training. If you, on the other hand, would be training, and let's say your activity level would be 1,000 calories extra than your BMI, so 2,400, well then you would have to eat 2,400 just to keep your weight, or maybe 2,600 if you want to add a little extra to build muscle, 2,200 to maintain muscle and lose fat. The trick here is not to lose weight too fast. We actually say, as demotivating as it might sound, that the slower you can lose weight, the better. So how much do you really burn doing let's say a normal CrossFit session, 1 hour class, your typical what? Well, it's anything between 250 to 500 calories. It all depends on your own activity level and the style of training. If we only do a strict cardio session, well then you're burning calories right there and then. If there's weights added to it, there's also the afterburn effect, which is what we call the process that happens after training when the body is trying to rebuild all that broken down muscle tissue that was created in that workout, aka building muscle. So that overall amount of calories burned in a span of 48 hours is a lot greater than, let's say, in intense cardio workouts with no weights right there and then. I want to point out that all these Apple Watches, Fitbits, and all other sort of wristwatches are not an accurate measurement for the total amount of calories burned in a session. So watch out by using them. The only way that you could actually figure out what is my sweet spot, well, that is just to try something out, see how your body reacts, and then act accordingly. Here's my list on how to do it. First off, you calculate your BMI at bodybuilding.com or any other site that provides this calculator. Then you add X amount of calories on top of that, representing your daily activity level. A couple of hundred from walking around to go to school, go home from school to your job, and then add some calories representing the amount of training that you do. And make sure that it supports the training, unless you're really trying to cut some weight. But make sure that that deficit is not too big. Now you're gonna come up with a total amount of calories that you should be eating every single day. Now how do you really track it? Well, it's great to know how many calories you're on every day, but you also need to apply it to food. And that's where you gotta have a little deeper knowledge into food. And there's really only one way of doing it, and that is to start counting your own macros. It's a pretty crazy measure to go to, but I guarantee you doing it for 1 month or 2 months of your life, it's gonna give you knowledge that you are gonna appreciate for the rest of your life. It's a hassle the first week or 2 weeks, but once you learn the macronutrients in the different foods, it's gonna be easier for you to plot it into, let's say, MyFitnessPal, and the whole process becomes a lot easier in the long run. If you're trying to gain weight, start weighing yourself every morning after a toilet visit and before you drink or eat any food. You will do this every day, and in the end of the week, you're gonna add that total weight together and multiply it by 7, and you'll have your average weight for the week. The reason why this is only applicable if you're trying to gain weight is that your weight is not really a good track of measure. Muscle weighs more than fat. So if you're losing a lot of fat and building muscle, you might actually gain weight. That's why you see people before and after photos, they can look a lot smaller but more fit, but they weigh more than the person next to them that is bigger. So what we do instead, we take before pictures, before and after pictures. So every week, let's say every Sunday, make sure you take a photo of yourself or get someone to take a photo of yourself in the same lighting, the same position, and then week by week, keep doing the same thing, and then hopefully you'll start seeing some results. But please, have patience. If you're trying to lose weight because you put weight on, it probably took you longer than 3-4 weeks. So try to be realistic. Maybe you should spend a little bit more than 1, 2, or 3 months doing this if you spend 5 years putting it on. Now hopefully guys, these 5 tips is gonna help you move on from where you are now and hopefully closer to your athletic potential. Remember, everything comes down to your consistency with eating, with training, with recovering, everything. Get out there, crush some weights, and we'll see you in the next one.